hope you're having a wonderful day in this 2022. I hope you had a great New Year's, after having a great Christmas, after having a great Thanksgiving, and now we're in a new year, and I'm here that scamming Trump just doesn't stop. He's carrying on in 2022, and somebody gave Trump $1 billion. Who would give Trump $1 billion, and why would they give it to him, and what would they expect in return? Well, the most likely thing is that whoever gave Trump this money is expecting favors after Trump possibly becomes president. Trump still has a big following, and there is a chance that he could become president again if he runs. So that would be a gamble. Are you willing to put your money on it? Because the prize could be big. If you get the head of the country owing you $1 billion or more in favors, and they could threaten your kids, they could threaten your property, they could threaten your grandkids. I mean, there could be huge prizes. There could be lots of laws in your favor. There could be money going straight out of the pockets of the American people into the pockets of whoever gave Trump this money. So let's look at who could possibly have given Trump $1 billion. Well, it's not going to be the average American citizen. It's going to be somebody who has a lot of money. And so often we look at countries. What kind of country would be interested in backing Trump and looking for favors in return? Well, one of them could be Saudi Arabia. They have lots to gain by having a puppet in the White House that they could control and they could get lots of favors for. Plus, we know the Khashoggi disaster, where they had made Khashoggi come back to Saudi Arabia in order to get documents to bring his wife or girlfriend into the United States. And when he went into the embassy, they captured him, took him into a kill room, tortured him, dismembered him, and of course that was all while the girlfriend was waiting outside the embassy for him to come out with her travel papers. Saudi Arabia wants something big, and they certainly could have given Trump the $1 billion. It could be Israel. Israel has gotten a lot of favors from Trump during his last presidency. In fact, they even took over Jerusalem and pushed out the Palestinians. Today, the Palestinians are being pushed out by the Israelis, and from what I'm told, Israelis can go up to the door of a Palestinian and knock on the door, get the Palestinian to come out under whatever ruse or force. Then an Israeli can enter the house and claim it's his by history. And they're doing that, I'm told, in Palestine, and I don't know what else they're doing. That news has not been fully disclosed. We are getting that news in the United States, but I'm told a lot of things are going on over in Israel. So Israel would have big stakes in having the United States with a puppet president. So there are all kinds of people and countries and so forth that we could see who wants a president who's mainly motivated by money and really has no respect for America, American laws, or the American people, and is willing to spend American money for his own benefit, regardless of the needs of the people. The most likely group to want a puppet president, in addition to the two already named, includes the mafia. So that would be very likely for Trump because he has very close ties with the mafia. having lived in New York and done a lot of construction work. And Trump's history of mafia-like tactics and his harsh dealings and interrelationships with the mafia certainly make the mafia a huge candidate for wanting a puppet president and for giving Trump this $1 billion, hoping to get him enough power, enough media attention so that he can persuade those people who are unhappy with Trump being out of office to go out, work for him, and get him back in office for a full term. The New York Attorney General's office is saying, well, we don't want to necessarily put Trump in jail, but we do want to know where this money and what his businesses are, because he has such unusual bank dealings with banks that are abroad, offshore banks, which aren't regulated by the laws of the United States and do a lot of crazy things like lending millions of dollars to a man who is bankrupt and has claimed numerous bankruptcies in the past. That would be Trump. So they just basically want to know, show us your finances so we can see what's going on with these businesses and see what needs to be straightened out and if you need to pay any fines and so forth. Trump is fighting this. He doesn't want to get anywhere near the Attorney General's office, and so he and his kids, Ivana and Trump Jr., are fighting this tooth and nail to stay out. Trump is supposed to testify, I believe, on the 7th of January, and the kids are supposed to testify also during this week. But they say they're not going to show up. They're not going to sit down. They don't want to give a deposition, and they know that they're probably going to have to lie during the deposition, and they don't want to be held for lying during the deposition. So they know that if they tell the truth, they're going to be in trouble. If they lie, they're going to be in trouble. So all they want to do is stay out of this legal office. Now, these subpoenas to show up for questioning are normally required. If you're ever subpoenaed to show up for a deposition, you can face fines, you can face imprisonment, all kinds of things. But this doesn't matter to Trump. Of course, fines wouldn't mean much because somebody just gave him $1 billion. I mean, he can pay all the fines that they might want to throw at him. That means absolutely nothing. So will we ever find out anything about Trump and his family and his money? Or will Trump just go on using the legal system as a false shelter so that he never has to disclose anything, and hopefully he'll be able to slip back into the White House? Now, I think personally, if anybody is fighting this hard not to reveal any of his financial documents, I think he ought to automatically be excluded from being able to run for president. Why in the world would we want a corrupt president, especially when we saw that he tried to overthrow the American government on January 6th? Doesn't make any sense, and we will see what happens, whether or not the government can actually make Trump and his family act as regular American citizens, or are they something else? Are they not American citizens? Are they somebody else that might have more immunity? Maybe they're foreign agents. That's always possible. We saw how the Russians came immediately into the White House after Trump was elected, and Trump threw out all Americans from the White House so that he could have secret, unmonitored conversations with the Russians after he won his original term. So, is Trump an agent? such that we can't trust him? And what exactly is going on? Now, another Trump scam is this media company that he is building, and he has created a SPAC, which is a type of organization authorized by the government where a person can say they have a business, but actually they have no business. There's nothing there, but they say they have a business, and then they are able to go out and look for money among the wealthy people. People can donate millions and millions to this SPAC, and you keep saying that they are investing in your business, but which of course does not exist. Now, eventually your business might exist. Maybe you'll be motivated to actually make the business come into fruition, or you might finally say, well, I can't create this business, and it just all goes downhill. But either way, you got the money, you got it under the auspices of a SPAC, and it's legal. So that's what Trump is doing right now. He is building wealth by saying that he is making this media company. I believe he's going to call it Truth, which of course is a lie, because Trump has never told the truth in his time in office. He is a habitual liar, and you can't trust anything he says, and you don't know even who he works for. He wraps himself in the flag, but his heart is elsewhere. And mostly it's in his banking and financial escapades. And I say escapades because this guy is a scammer. So we'll see what happens with Trump this week. Will he show up for the depositions? Will he respond to the subpoenas? Or will his team of lawyers, some of whom are working also with the mafia, keep Trump out of the hands of the legal system once again? And has he ever really filed his income taxes? Another question. I know they've been trying to get them for over 4 years, but Trump has always escaped by filing suits and countersuits and countersuits and countersuits. But what in the world is going on with Trump? He is just too corrupt for any public office. I don't care how minor. He should never have government money. We work too hard as citizens to get that money, and no one wants Trump to come in and just line his pockets with money. And his wife, of course, she is from a communist country, and she came into the United States under some sort of guise that she was a model, quote unquote, and she was able to meet Trump at some sort of gentleman's event, and they ended up actually getting married. And then she brought her communist parents over. So what in the world is going on? And if it continues like this, I predict the United States will end up as a non-democracy, maybe under the hands of China, maybe under the hands of Israel, maybe under the hands of Russia, maybe just run by a bunch of mafia people. But we don't know, and the future is yet to be told. Please like and join this podcast. Bye.